She who has eternal life proposes to a white cat god with countless reasons. Firstly, as a mother, you are undoubtedly a woman, and usually they are very big. Secondly, as a demon god, you are the best at tentacles and girls. Thirdly, and most importantly, just like me, are immortal beings, and you can always be by my side. To have the qualification to summon you, I don't know how many years have passed and traveled all over the world to find gods just for their lover. They are willing to do anything. Gods are the general term for fallen gods. Each one has an immeasurable mission. Standing at the top of the world, indulge in their desires, provoke obstacles. They are dangerous and powerful, terrifying existences. Touching them slightly will lead to the endless abyss. Our male lead is named Yinzi, is the one who stares into the abyss. As one of the time travelers who came to the other world, he is the one who knows all the highest gifts in the world. But there is one thing he doesn't understand: why only he has eternal life. The other time travelers who were summoned together have also passed away in the long years. To give the deceased travelers a home, have a home, Lindsay created this temple of all beings and buried them here. Now he is tired of this boring life. Should have a result. The key to summon the evil god was slowly thrown into the air, accompanied by secret words. The bamboo piano of the Gate of Mystery opens the back of the world. Let the unspeakable mother god, the black goat that gave birth to thousands of children, descend here. The great Shani Viniplas, a door full of evil energy, appeared in front of Lindsay instantly. The magical sound sounded. If humans have any requests, what Mr. Lindsay didn't expect was that Lindsay knelt down on one knee and proposed directly, and the reason was quite sufficient, being moved by love. The evil god Shaniwini Plath, the evil god Shaniwini slowly floated out from behind the door, saying that before he died, "You must always like me." So she accepted Lindsay's marriage proposal. What the gentleman didn't expect was that he had never encountered such a situation before. He had no idea how to proceed after that. He just forgot it. He turned around confidently. He asked, "After we become husband and wife, what do you wish for?" Without thinking, and directly said, "I want to have children with you." Shiniwe heard this. This is just right for her profession. She is a goddess. Her instant affection was instantly full. She replied, "I'm about to be. I love having babies the most." Marrying a wife who loves having babies? What kind of experience is it? And she is quick and gentle. She can do it anytime, anywhere, no matter what kind of child you want to conceive. The only thing is that the other person is pregnant, regardless of gender, as the mother god has the ability to make all beings reproduce. Whether it's life or death, or gender, it doesn't matter. You can have as many children as you want. I'll give you right away. Because of excitement, Shiniwe's tentacles directly wrapped around Lindsay. Being entangled, he heard those outrageous words at the moment. He was shocked on the spot. He shouted out that he didn't want that kind of child, but to have a loving relationship with you in various ways. And finally gave birth to offspring. Shiniwe blushed with disbelief. How could someone be so serious to say such shameless words? She covered her face and dodged to the side and said with a trembling voice, "Do you want to listen to what you're saying? Even if they are a couple, this is too much." But Kalin went even further. He seized Shani's weakness and continued to say that a couple means that both the mind and body should be closely connected. Every moment should be passionate about each other's existence. He shouted loudly, "I want to be with Naiwei." At the same time, Shaniwei's mother temple hall Two subordinates of the two goddesses are watching from start to finish this wonderful live broadcast. Lilith on the side is doubting life. The Minotaur next to him directly pulled him back to reality. As we all know, live broadcast cannot be edited. This is the fact. At this moment, Lily, whose 3 views were subverted, she clung to him mindlessly like the end of the world. She shouted the reason why Lord Shaniwei went out in person. However, to induce the ignorant and stupid humans to dream. But what the hell is this on-the-spot marriage? And it's with a man she just met. Now we are still discussing. The intense stimulation made Lilith unable to recover. She holds her head and shouts. But the Minotaur is the opposite. He thought with his hand on his chin. The god of war must have his reasons for doing so. And that man is indeed very strong. His mental will is dark and profound. His behavior and speech were inhuman. As the master of the temple of all beings, perhaps may have the power to decide the final outcome of the war. Lilith listened to the explanation of the Minotaur. Still couldn't believe it. He looks like a shut-in at home. And then he awakened this pervert after staying at home. Well, is it really that strong? The Minotaur still insisted on his reasoning and continued. Our mother goddess is going to defeat other evil gods and regain the power of creation. Here comes the crucial point. As long as she marries and has children with a powerful being, this is the best way to achieve this island's grand project. But Lilith couldn't accept it more and more. Don't let Lady Shaniwa get pregnant with that man's child. What? No, Lilith stakes the honor of the mother goddess followers. I will personally confirm whether that man, if he really has the capacity and appetite to be the goddess's partner, as long as a man can talk, even the evil god can be brought home. Just now, Mother Goddess Shaniwei blushed when she accepted Lindsay's proposal. If they are a couple, do that kind of thing? That kind of thing only seen in comics. Do you really want to do that in reality? She suddenly looked aside. She realized that she was too immersed in the joy of marriage. She forgot to contact the Mother Dynasty, and her conversation with Lindsay must have been seen by Lilith and the others. Lick immediately pretended to be coke awkwardly, but talked about what a couple should do to Lindsay. Let's discuss it later. I have to go back to the mother planet to explain to my followers. Lindsay, who was still hanging in the air, smiled and asked if he needed to go with her. Shaniwei rejected it on the spot. Lindsay didn't try to keep her. He gently grabbed Shani's tentacles, gently touching. I don't know what's going on in her head. This touch is completely irresistible. One more second and it would be bad. He immediately turned around and ran, disappeared into the void. But Lindsay breathed a sigh of relief, with a gloomy expression, thinking to himself, after approaching the evil god, the pain in his heart became more and more severe. This pain is like a constant reminder to Lindsay. The traveler couldn't leave this world. The time traveler couldn't leave this world and return to his hometown. In the hive at this time, after 9 million years, the origin of all things, the great mother goddess who gave birth to all things, held a roundtable meeting of the evil gods. Remember the last meeting was the last time, as the world's rules makers and controllers. The interesting people gathered together. The first to speak was the Golden King. The dragon god of the end of Dharma, Rijin, asked with an expressionless face, calling us here. The so-called appropriate side. The deep sea god who was eager to perform. Clara stood up directly, replied, that's right, that's right. Hurry up. The others remained silent. The mistress of secrets, the dark weaver, Naya. The night king, the lord of secrecy, Saman. the true ancestor of sun god Vodaus. The last one, the pale beast who always absent, the maize god Ifu. At this time, Sheniwei, who was enjoying the food, also slowly stopped eating. She wiped her mouth, saying it wasn't really important. She extended her hand with a diamond ring and continued, not long ago, I married a human, and I will leave the hive and live a sweet life with my husband, and live a sweet life with this opportunity to end the war that has lasted for several eras, the world-threatening war that almost destroyed the world. How troublesome it is to have a wife who loves to have babies, and she is also a supreme evil god. At this time, Lindsay was sitting in the temple of all beings and was puzzled about how to replenish his body. He lit a match in his hand, illuminating his haggard face. Just then, two figures appeared in front of Lindsay, because they were just illusions in Lindsay's memory. He had forgotten what they looked like, but still remembered the time when they died. One has been dead for 95,820,000. The other one died 9,030 million years. As the sixth generation of time travelers after Lindsay, the priest Knight system's four bodies. He said excitedly, "It's great that you still remember me. Mr. Lindsay still remembers me." After the two sat down, Lindsay looked up at the sky and said slowly that he was leaving the temple of all and married the evil god. He stood up again. He apologized deeply to the dense cemetery. "Before I destroy the evil gods, I can't take you to the wedding. After I leave, I will return to the ground and get married in the Phalosia kingdom. This time, I will kill the fifth evil god who killed you too, Darkmaker Nia, and take back your hope of going home." On the other side, in the mother nest, the Yuanzhuo Huiyi of the evil gods also came to an end. "The god of war killed you. What I didn't expect was that the Dark Maker, the fifth evil god, would invite Sheniwei to hold the wedding in the Lox kingdom. He will definitely attend their wedding. In the city of Will in the Phalos kingdom, at dusk, Lindsay and Sheniwei went to the church together to register for marriage. At this moment, what Lindsay was thinking was, I didn't expect it to go so smoothly to let Niwei come to the Luoxi kingdom. The next task is to find the Dark Maker. Sheniwei was also quite surprised. She didn't expect Lindsay to directly propose to come to Luoxi kingdom. The next task is to wait for Vika to attend the wedding and find a way to get her to hand over the full cake. There was a light footsteps behind them. There was a light footstep behind them. He pushed his glasses and asked Lindsay and Sheniwei who I was. "I didn't mean to eavesdrop. I just happened to hear you didn't mention the church. And I am the person in charge of marriage in church. May I help you?" Lindsay grabbed Sheniwei's hand and replied, "We are a newly married couple. We want to register here and make an appointment." A sudden close contact made Sheniwei unprepared. Sheniwei was caught off guard and blushed and nodded repeatedly. Maria heard it, defining themselves as a couple without approval. They are young and don't know the weight of marriage. So she waved to Lindsay and the other two to follow and said I would confirm with the jury whether you are qualified to be a legal couple. Do you have money? Do you have a house? Nothing. What do you have to marry a wife? Just with your sincerity? No, I have a big and spacious house. It's not only open air, and there are many tombstones around. The location is in a no man's land. It can be called an open-air cemetery view room. Lindsay was at the Church of Tiu in the Lox Kingdom, registering marriage with the goddess Sheniwei. Was being interrogated by Maria, the marriage director, and was interrogated by the jury. whether they are qualified to be a legal couple. The jury asked a fatal question. A good material foundation is the guarantee of marriage. Lindsay and Shaniwei replied immediately. Money was not needed for our previous life. There's no situation where they buy things by themselves. So it's naturally zero. Currently, only one house. The jury has a hall. This is a high-end game. Is he a rich second generation with a simple mind? She immediately asked, is the house in a commercial and prosperous area? Or a beautiful, peaceful, and comfortable villa area? Annie? Shani and Wei recalled the place where they first met. It was a very quiet place. Not only could you see stars when you looked up, but also had a wide view. And occasionally there was a breeze. There were flowers blooming everywhere around. The lush vegetation was full of vitality. Lindsay immediately added that. There are many tombstones around. And the way Niwei's hair was blown by the wind was so beautiful and moving, making people want to pounce on it instantly. Even the jury, who had professional training, couldn't help slapping the table. It's outrageous. Not only did he not have a penny, but also an open-air powder room. How could he find such a beautiful wife? Why can't I? It's really hateful. Besides, Miss Shaniwei is in that kind of place. Don't you feel creepy? Shaniwei turned to Lindsay gently. They hugged each other and said that what was buried there are all the most important memories of Lindsay. And as his wife, I will cherish it with him and create new memories. The jury felt more and more wrong. There are so many liars out there. Miss Shaniwei in front of us has no dissatisfaction with the man's conditions. It sounds like she was deceived. She directly stood up and asked Miss Shaniwei, Miss Shaniwei, you and Mr. Lindsay haven't known each other long, right? This question also made Shaniwei suddenly panic. How do you know we met for the first time yesterday and got married on the first day? Because he has an irresistible open-air pink view room. I don't believe it, and neither does the jury of the Diyue Church. They all suspected that Lindsay was seducing women, and they planned to take compulsory measures against him. As the evil god Shani, when hearing about the evil god's deception of women, she said subconsciously, she offered all the details to the fish. The incompetent mortal dared to mutter the fish's real name, kneel down and pray for the protection of the fish. Just getting into the state, she realized it. Oh, it's really bad. I forgot my identity and occasion. Is it really going to end like this? There's no way. I had to give birth to all the people in this city. Be reborn from the mother nest. There's no other way. The next second, tentacles gushed out from the floor behind Shani. At this moment, Lindsay stood up and started his performance. Dao, everyone, don't get me wrong. My wife is a demon hunter. It was on a snowy night. Niwei, who was just a child, witnessed the evil cultist's evil deeds. Blood stained the white snow. In short, after that night, Shaniwei suddenly rushed up and directly threw herself on Lindsay, covering his mouth, with a blush on her face, and nodded repeatedly, saying that's what happened. That's why she cared so much about the evil god. For the first time, he was so close to her. How could Lindsay just go up and... He said gently in her ear, because your hair makes me a little itchy. And my heart is even more itchy. Shani William blushed and dodged aside. Lindsay patted his head and said, we are married. Why are you shy? The story is so vivid and abstract. The marriage officer, Maria, like watching a Korean drama, and cried bitterly. I understand you. I understand. Because you must have suffered a lot. Then let me explain to you. The evil organization the Burning Fire Cult has done. What they believe in is the Flame King who claims to be chaos. And the Flame King was helped by the great evil god, the help of the Dark Maker, and gained some power. But the Flame King's mind is not normal. He has a strong fetish for Lily, an idealism to create a kingdom with only girls. Therefore, those people, the cultists of the fire cult, in order to please the Flame King, they will use all kinds of methods to preach to those young girls and promote the lily fetish everywhere. They think lily are the most beautiful flowers in the world. They want to get married but have no money. A room costs 30 million yuan. Even with Lindsay's life, he can only buy a toilet. The inflation rate in this world is so terrifying. Having a house is just the first step. The annual income of the couple must reach 1 million. This is the minimum standard. Only in this way can they maintain their daily expenses. This is love. I love you. Although situations like Lindsay are rare, but it's not impossible to meet. The jury in the church immediately gave them a suggestion, suggesting that they become adventurers to earn bounties, then take out a loan to buy a house, and then register for marriage. The two left the church and walked on the street. Sheniwei grabbed Lindsay's sleeve and frowned. Why? Marriage. To spend more money than their own lives. To buy a house? Isn't this our business? Is it necessary to be so troublesome? Why not just dye these people all the color of fish and become fish so that everyone will bless us? He touched Sheniwei's head with both hands, which instantly calmed her down. Her voice was like spring with flowers blooming. So warm. I understand. But in my opinion, because from the moment I put the ring on and accepted my marriage proposal, we can't be separated. The various problems we are facing now do not affect our emotional bond at all. Now it's just too far from the city. We just need to adapt to it for a while. Being comforted like this, Shani felt extremely happy. A blush gradually appeared on her fair face and replied gently that she would listen to you. Then Lindsay used the magic of memory elimination to clean up the impact that Evely had just caused. The sky was getting dark. The two who came to the Adventurers Association just met. President. They learned that the receptionist Yuflei had been kidnapped by the fire worshippers. Now there is no way to become an adventurer normally. Hearing that it was the fire-burning cult again, Shiniwei clenched her fists. If this goes on, all the young girls in the city will be abducted by them. As a demon god would do such a thing that goes against morality. She turned around and was furious. She shouted angrily, "Let's just destroy their lair." Lindsay quickly stopped her and said, "We do need to deal with them. But our current task is not them." She smiled at the president again. "You said there is no way to apply through normal process. So what is the abnormal process?" The president frowned and his face darkened, as expected of a young man. So sensitive. But it depends on strength. He married a new wife just because he loves having children. Now he is getting thinner and thinner to make money. He came to the Adventurers Association to work. What he didn't expect was that the guild's poster girl was taken away by the fire cult. Now he has to go through an abnormal process. According to the association's regulations, he needs to take 2 strict tests. The first attack, the branches shown by the crystal beside me, which will distinguish your strength. At this time, Lindsay was surrounded by a stream of light. He gathered magic power in his hand and punched the crystal, just as the president was complacent, thinking how strong these 2 young people could be. There was a loud explosion behind him. The crystal shattered and scattered. The president, who was terrified by the earthquake, looked at all this in disbelief. Stunned. Even Lindsay's hand was still smoking, showing the power of that punch. Shaniwei looked at the broken crystal, pouted and said, "Really? I wanted to test it out." Lindsay had no choice, so he had to comfort her. With a bang, Shani, who was excited, couldn't wait. She shouted to the president, "Let's start the second test quickly." She couldn't wait to start. The sweating president thought, "The young people are so scary." But the second test was to fight against me. He thought he would be beaten to death. He immediately clapped his hands and forced a smile to say, "Wonderful. It's wonderful. Your performance makes me admire you. Needless to say, please take the proof of silver and adventurer." I couldn't hear Shaniwei's question from the side. She took out a camera from nowhere. She wanted to take a photo of Lindsay and me. Shani, who seemed to pounce out at any moment, was still shouting for the test. Now the classic head-patting scene appeared again. "It's okay. Nawei will have another chance to perform. After all, this is our first group photo." Shaniwei's brain is spinning rapidly. Now a couple photo. Maybe I should be more imaginative as a girl. How could it be that, even with tentacles, hanging up her husband who just met for a day? It doesn't matter. But this warm scene was recorded by the president of the Adventurers Association. The air froze instantly. The couple succeeded simultaneously. They looked at the president in unison. "I'm just an ordinary old man. Don't do this. I'm towards the stars." The two returned to the street. They had a bag of gold coins in their hands. As the goddess of money, she had no idea about money and didn't know how to make good use of it. How to make good use of this hard-earned money. Lin on the side thought for a moment and gave a suggestion. "This startup capital is used to buy a house. That's not enough. It's better to use it to package yourself, to buy some clothes she likes." Shaniwei didn't understand, so she had to agree. Soon, they came to a boutique women's clothing store. As they entered the store, they were greeted with a clerk. A clerk who looked like she wanted to stick to them. "Welcome. What kind of clothes do you want to see?" As a woman, Shaniwei has no resistance to this aspect and immediately buried herself in the selection. Lindsay said gently from the side, "Would you pick the clothes that you think are suitable? And good-looking clothes. Mainly because it's related to our next task." Shaniwei immediately agreed. Suddenly realized something. She was stunned and turned to ask, "Is it useful for the task?" But she thought to herself, "What we need to do next? I don't understand, but since Lindsay said so, I'll be an ordinary human girl." To choose the clothes she likes. Lindsay was very patient. He waited for half an hour directly. But when Shaniwei came out in her new clothes, Lee was wrong. It should be all worth it. Shaniwei smiled and greeted Lindsay. "How about this set? How do you feel about this set?" She frowned and held her head up with such focused eyes, examining every corner of Shaniwei. He couldn't help but be proud and said, "What time do you go home? But the only drawback is, it would be better with a veil." Shaniwei, who was praised, was full of joy. She couldn't help but spin around in place. "So how about I wear this out?" But what Lindsay said next made Shaniwei's three views shake. "If you want to change back to your original clothes, let me wear this dress." Can you believe it? The person in front of her is not only a heavy tentacle fetishist, but also a cross-dresser. But he is a time traveler with eternal life. a full-time employee of the world, and even a student wife who gave birth for love. Shani looked at Lindsay in a daze and doesn't know how to speak. But her mind was already in a struggle. What should I do to unlock new hobbies? And as his wife, should I unconditionally understand and support him? At this time, Lindsay was choosing clothes while he said, because I can buy more sets of the clothes I liked before. I only need this one disguise. Buy it? Shiniwei directly transformed into a Mongolian. She couldn't understand what Minzi was saying. The clerk next to him saw this and immediately praised the customer for good taste. We also sold one this morning. It was a handsome guy who said he wanted to buy it for his sister. Shaniwei stepped forward, tugged at Lindsay's clothes. What does the disguise mean? Could it be that they don't understand? Shaniwei finished speaking. Lindsay immediately used to cover his mouth. He explained in his hometown dialect. This is called entrapment. Next, Naiwei continued to wear the clothes he liked, which made Shaniwei more and more confused. So angry that she directly bit him. Lindsay had to obey. To wear other clothes in the Sichuan Opera Room. Next, enjoy Shaniwei's costume show. Purple long dress with black lace, showing the noble temperament. Elegant, really elegant. Top white stockings with deer-shaped breasts. It saves so much fabric. Frugal indeed. Black stockings and red silk tied together, while highlighting the figure. And the shy expression is the essence. Perfect is perfect. Everyone here, please raise your hands to prove your innocence. Thank you, but the most detailed part. It's the tentacles tied up. This made Lindsay a heavy tentacle control. He was furious on the spot. Bleeding profusely, he struggled to raise the triple click point in his hand. Constrained tentacles are the best. Well, it was a dark night. In the dense crowd on the streets of Will City, there was a cross-dresser among them. Ying's Yefu. He said it was obvious that the fish had taken the bait. People in the crowd, they also held a lamp in their hands and lit it, walking at the end of the line. Yes, Shaniwei's keen nose smelled something. She said there was a familiar smell. Could it be that at this moment? The leader in black cloak turned around and spoke to the back. The lost sheep who haven't understood true love. Tonight, let you witness the resurrection of the great king. He said, and threw his cloak away, revealing his true face. He continued. He will lead us into the kingdom of the great king. Suddenly, Shaniwei was surprised to find that this human looks like you. Seeing Shaniwei's strong reaction, she thought she knew him. Just about to ask, Shaniwei said, seems like a gentleman I know. Lindsay, how you got in here? Could it be just the clothes? Yes, it's the clothes. Lindsay, I continue to explain. As long as you buy clothes from that women's clothing store and wear them, you will be invited to this barren place. In this barren land, the outside world is completely unaware of it. Shaniwei thought about it and was still a little puzzled. The clerks in that store probably don't know either. How did they notice this? At this time, Lindsay remembered someone's advice, Wanshi Buju, to wear women's clothes. He couldn't say such words, so he could only reply that it was just a former companion. He had guessed this option randomly before. If it's the descendant of that guy, might be in this line at this moment. The mysterious woman at the head saw someone whispering. She stomped her foot in dissatisfaction. She called out Lilith, asking for enhanced charm effect. Lilith, who suddenly appeared, was helpless. She had to do it, just as she was about to complain about being bossy. She looked up at the crowd and clenched her fists in panic. What? The god of war. The one in front of her is the god of war. and his method of punishing his subordinates is to use tentacles to bind and tangle. The blending must be messed up. It's a bit exciting to think about. At this time, as a consort of the god of war, Lilith sticks her head out from the crowd. She saw him at once, the god of war she had been thinking about. She quickly put her hands on her head and squatted down. The reason why she appeared here was to know. The mother goddess and Lindsay became husband and wife, so she found the Burning Fire cult to cooperate with, to wake up the king of the desert, and then do that to break up the god. Lily C thought about it. Since you pursue excitement, then stick to it. Now that we've come this far, we can't back down. After all, I have already made up my mind. I must let the goddess understand that that kind of man is not. And I am the most suitable for this. The team moved forward. Shani Wei, the goddess of war, immediately saw the red figure like Mi Bi. But she didn't think much. After all, the child was so resistant before, so she shouldn't be here. The team moved forward slowly. They came to the front of the Church of the Covenant. It was dark and windy. It's time to awaken the Flame King. After more than 90 million years of obsession and hatred, will bloom again tonight. The creator of this church, Zistia. He repeatedly obstructed and insulted the pursuit of love. It's because you don't understand, Lily, that now the masterless spirit will borrow our magic power to be reborn in your appearance. What irony! A random fire was instantly ignited, accompanied by soul fireworks soaring into the sky. Mings knew they were so smart. To awaken the evil god by sacrificing himself? Shani Wei, who was nearby, couldn't help asking, shouldn't we stop them? The girl who was tied up? She should be the elf of the Adventurers Association, Ken Bai. If this continues, she will be drained and honed. But Lindsay replied with a relaxed face that it doesn't matter. He will take action. Another cross-dresser appeared, carrying a golden long sword. He is Pharaoh's, the Sword Saint's holy sword, Lane said as he walked. Let me end this farce. His appearance did surprise the Fire Lord. After all, Mai is also a big shot. He didn't expect to come to such a small place, but it couldn't stop his ambition. He used the secret technique, the Flame Jet Tower. He kicked the next second, but was split in half by a sword from Rhine. After all, he is a swordsman. Jin Sling. This level is completely easy for him. The forest in the distance was watching the whole time. As expected of your descendant, even the preference for women's clothing is the same. It's the ancestral gene. His strength is beyond doubt. He put his hand on Shaniwei's shoulder. He's here. It should be no problem. Let's go and save people first. On the other side, the frontal battlefield was deadlocked, and laughter kept coming. The Fire Lord held a ball of flame, stretching towards Lai En. Don't underestimate me. The gray fog here is constructed by the omnipotence of the fifth evil god. Even a saint-level powerhouse cannot dispel the masterless. It will surely revive tonight. Burn this world. As he spoke, only to hear a snap from a distance. The gray fog surrounding the cult members suddenly dissipated. The scene was awkward for a moment. What happened? The lawless holy rock sword, the one above all. Jinshin flashed and came, just to save the girl who was bewitched by the fire-burning cult. She put on her favorite women's clothing. Just at the critical moment, a snap of fingers instantly reversed the situation. The fog dissipated. The girls who were enchanted all fell to the ground with a thud, face down. The leader of the fire-burning sect looked at all this in disbelief. Lane didn't quite understand what was going on, but it was still beneficial to him at the moment. He raised his golden sword and pointed it at the leader. No sword, no bondage, no enemy. In an instant, a blazing flame rushed towards the target. But the leader was still thinking why the ceremony was broken. Without realizing the attack was coming, Lilith emerged from the side. Now, there's no time to be depressed here. If she is caught, it would be a complete failure. While talking, she pulled a whip out of the void and whipped it hard to block the incoming attack. The leader, who just came to his senses, finally regained his composure. With a word, and Lilith disappeared in place. The next time, the unnamed flame will burn the earth. Meanwhile, nearby, Lindsay had already noticed. When he tried to dispel the gray fog, the fire cult ceremony had already succeeded. It seems that it's our turn to clean up. The inverted cross on the high platform. The cross was tied with the Adventurer Association's mascot. At this time, a crane appeared behind him. Soon, it directly attacked Jin Shanshan. Jin Shanshan had no choice. He had to dive into the sea. At this moment, behind him, a pair of strong hands wrapped around his waist, and the other held a sword. With lightning, he shattered the darkness, blocking the incoming attacks. Shaniwei held up the old scythe with both hands. He jumped into the air and slashed at Hertz. A sudden loud explosion came. Jin Shanshan looked at this scene, can't help but stay in place, staring straight at Lindsay, and her face turned red. What kind of beautiful and noble woman is this? That made her directly kneel down on one knee. Beautiful lady, please forgive my boldness. Meeting you makes me feel so lucky. My heart is in turmoil. At this moment, although I'm not wearing a ring, but please allow me to propose to you under the witness of to propose to you. Seeing that something was wrong, Shani teleported, hugged Lindsay, and kicked Jin Shanshan away, and shouted Lindsay, "But it's mine. I can't give you." So that's it. Jin Shanshan pointed at them and stammered, "You two are lesbians." After all, it's Lindsay. These are all small scenes. Lindsay still explained with a straight face. "We are husband and wife, and I'm a boy like you." When Jin Shanshan heard this, they were both men. It's more exciting. And he couldn't extricate himself. Shani in his arms was full of jealousy. She punched his chest with her little fist. Do all men propose to someone they just met? Propose directly? Lindsay gently stroked Shaniwei's head with his hand, and his body was getting closer. They were about to kiss. He said softly in her ear, "I don't know about others, but I only want you. I must propose to you. Note that the above operation should not be imitated. It's easy to get in. Shaniwei doesn't eat anything else, just likes this." She happily leaned against Lindsay's body. Jin Shanshan felt full immediately. Too much dog food. Too much dog food, can't finish it. It was already morning. Jin Shanshan, who hadn't figured out their identities yet, met again in front of the church. He reluctantly exchanged it for the original clothing store and began to introduce himself. "I am Shenjin Yanxi, Kao Zhilai, and also a member of the secret organization Salvation. This mission is the task assigned by the association. I don't know if you have heard of the time traveler." Lin Ziyu and Shaniwei on his opposite were calm, saying they had heard of it in unison. At this time, Kim Shinshin became more and more excited. He held his head high, and his hands couldn't stop gesturing, which is the ability to change, was founded by the strongest of the first generation of time travelers, and the all-round tourist founded it. And I am the descendant of the time traveler. I was about to continue, but was interrupted by Lin Zi. "Actually, you don't need to introduce so much. My full name is Lin Zi, which is me." This familiar action. Just one more look and it will explode. The legendary blue battlesuit. "Chelsea, And he eats instant noodles. He only eats the noodles from Baixiang. You show me, is only circulated among members of the old society, can spread this unique password. It's the time traveler, the forbidden's knowledge of the original world. The more you know, the more ruthless you are. But now, only, when Jin Shanshan heard the other party said he was Lin Zeyuj, he directly started. Yes, you're right. But even Lord Yuge, he also needs to connect the secret to exchange information. A series of operations were smooth, and even the movements were perfect. Poker Gold directly made Gold Glitter worship Ghost Emperor. Even the goddess Sheniwei beside him can't help but be confused. It's really the secret language of the Salvation Society. It's really impossible to crack. It can only be said that they can't understand it. He is still considering whether to have a relationship with Lin Ziai. She looked at Lin Zi, who was entangled, and said, "What are the standards and rules of these secrets? What are they? Are they the crystallization of knowledge in the original world?" But Lin Zi shook his head repeatedly and replied, "These are just the legendary deeds of my previous world. Legends in my previous world? Now it's really like a..." He looked at the golden glittering on the ground again, and more angry. He kicked it away, turned around and grabbed Shaniwei's hand. She held tighter. "If Niwei is interested, when we do something tonight, I'll tell you slowly." Since Jintama was already full before, he couldn't eat anymore. He pretended to cough. "Identity information verified successfully. Next, I can share the information with you too." According to the detection and observation of the old society, the fifth evil god, the Dark Maker, after entering this forest, has gone missing. Later, the fire-burning cult in Will City began to act. The old society did not know the connection. So the village committee sent me to investigate. If you two have any further needs, can I ask for your help? Of course, the reward will never be less. The couple looked at each other. They shook hands and agreed. At this moment, a figure slowly walked over from the side. He said that since you have finished talking, then I will repay your kindness. "Mr. Silver, Miss Shaniwei, thank you for saving those girls who were seduced. If you two come to hold a wedding, we will give you a 10% discount, but also arrange it for you first. Next, please go to the Adventurers Association to claim the bounty. Then you can go to buy a house and the relevant financial mortgage process. There will be a special person to handle it for you." After everything was done, the couple happily walked down the street. Shiniwei is smiling and happy. Making money is quite easy. Next, we are almost ready to buy a house. Suddenly, a familiar figure came from the side with a familiar voice. "Shaniwei, I finally found you." She instantly widened her eyes and shouted, but there was no response at all. He is the fifth evil god, the Dark Maker. In the air, countless threads appeared and wrapped around everyone around. "Wow, what's up? Let's have a good talk about the war of the gods." Just a simple chat. And stop time. He is the Dark Maker, the fifth evil god. At this moment, he actually came to the door and said to the mother goddess, Shanning, "Now the time is ripe, and women have earned money. Let's talk about the blood god war." Just as Saniwei was thinking about how to save Lin Zi, a pair of hands directly rested on his head with a gentle voice. "I'm not so easily trapped. How can I leave you alone?" This made Naya stay in place. "The ancient time traveler, did you break free from my bondage from the beginning?" Lindsay, immersed in love, smiled and said, "I've suffered from you before." "Then you can talk about it next. What's the sudden appearance of my wife for?" But what he said next made them unbelievable. "I want to give you my power. and I plan to launch the evil god war. You can share it equally, but it's not for free. When you buy a house, you can ask me as a real estate consultant. This made Lindsay and the other two confused, and continued with a melancholy expression. Now as a worker, I've been working for almost 2.5 years. I haven't sold a single house yet. If you can't be generous and help me, I'm afraid I'll lose my job. Unable to accept the reality, Shani Rain. Her mind was in a mess. As the master of the demons, the evil god with the power of evolution deliberately stopped time, just to get us to buy a house from you. Even willing to hand over all the sword auras. You are so confused. I took out a firecracker and lit it up. It seems that you don't understand the pain of unemployment. I entered the human world earlier than you. I have a deep experience. In this society, you can't survive without money. Not to mention fighting. Once upon a time, I slept under bridges and fought with dogs for scraps. And also spent an unforgettable life of wandering and scavenging. This is the society created by humans. It's so cruel and beautiful. Those who couldn't accept the reality shook their heads crazily. But no matter what, with that kind of strength, you wouldn't starve in the human world. Naya put out the firecracker and said awkwardly, except for being able to destroy several countries in an instant, what other skills do I have? But I am the king of demons. I can't be an adventurer to hunt monsters. Anyway, I don't want to go back to the old days. Think about it. Just buy a house. My power will belong to you. 2.5 hours later, Lindsay and Mingzi came to a huge building in front of them, which was like a royal palace. The evil god Naya was also very trustworthy. He gave them each a quarter of the full army. The rest was in the hands of the burning fire cult. At this time, Shani turned to Mingzi and said, she said it was amazing. As a human spirit, Lindsay can contain the power of a demon. Lindsay couldn't help but feel flustered, and quickly explained, after all, everyone's physique is different.